Welcome to the Building Web3 podcast. Today I have my good friend Calinthia. He is the co-founder at Masa. Before we get too deep into Masa, give us a brief background into yourself and what were you doing before you entered this Web3 AI?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here today, Jax. It's my honor. And hello, everyone. My name is Calinthia. I'm co-founder of Masa. Before AI and decentralized AI, I was doing fintech actually for 7 years. I took now one Web3 project, one Web2 startup, and a VC from 0 to 1 and 1 to 100 in the past decade or so. First, I started my career on Wall Street as an investment banker. That's when I realized that financial institutions were pretty much broken and I should really hop on the fintech train. That was around 2014. And then I moved over to Silicon Valley. I joined PayPal as a founding member of PayPal's venture capital arm, basically making investments and acquisitions on behalf of PayPal. Over the course of a couple of years, deployed around $250 million, invested in 25 great startups, and 6 of them have successfully exited. And from that point on, I moved on to be a builder myself, joined a startup, which in 2 years raised $130 million and eventually got sold to a public company listed on NASDAQ. And now 2 years ago, me and my co-founder, Brendan, started Masa together, really trying to tackle the most critical problem in AI development, which is access to good quality data.
And talk to us a little bit about, the mission. Is it give more people access to good quality data? Give us the overall vision for the company.
Yeah, I wish I wore my Masa t-shirt, but because our t-shirt literally has our mission right in front of it. Our mission is fair AI powered by the people. If we think about the current landscape of AI, it is pretty much controlled by centralized AI providers. Just like in Web2 tech, we have the concept of big tech companies. In AI, we have the concept of big AI companies. Those are the companies such as Anthropic, OpenAI, but also the big tech companies now trying to become big AI companies. What is the problem with big AI? It has many problems. First of all, it basically tries to accumulate a lot of resources in a short amount of time. However, it does not fairly reward contributors, whether it's contributing your data, contributing your bandwidth, making any contribution to the development of centralized AI is currently not being fairly rewarded versus what we are trying to build, which is a world of fair AI powered by the people. If you're contributing to the development of AI, let's say if your personal data is being used in training AI model, or if your bandwidth is being used to scrape AI data, you should be able to get fairly compensated. So that's our mission at Masa, fair AI powered by the people.
Yeah, and let's talk about how you kind of address this issue. I think a lot of people have known that maybe it's not so public, but like OpenAI historically likely was scraping YouTube transcripts, all kinds of different data that's not really being paid out to creators. So talk to us a little bit about how you guys address these data bottlenecks and how you're hoping to build Masa to better align incentives.
Yeah, 100%. So I'll probably speak to it from two perspectives. One is users or people, individuals. The other one is developers, because both parties are facing bottleneck when it comes to getting access to quality data. Let's start with you and me, the people here. There's a saying that if a product is free, you are the product, which is salient in AI development. Because our personal data is being used over and over again in training AI model, big AI and big tech companies get to profit from it. This is especially true in the day and age when AI reigns dominance, because every single day we generate billions of data points around the world, and so many data points are being used to fine-tune AI model, to train AI agent, and to build AI applications. This needs to be resolved. And then on the other side is AI developers. Currently, in order to get access to high quality data, let's say Twitter data, AI developers will have to go to centralized platforms API. For example, in the case of Twitter, they will have to spend anywhere from $5,000 to $42,000 to access 1 million plus tweets for AI model training on a monthly basis. Now, that is very expensive. Nowadays, a lot of AI developers are either solo developers or a very small team of AI developers. They simply cannot afford to pay Twitter $5,000 to $42,000 every month to train their AI agents using Twitter's data. just a couple of weeks ago, I was in Seoul, Korea for Korean Blockchain Week. And then we hosted a hackathon in partnership with Near Foundation. There's a team who wanted to use Twitter data, but accidentally had to pay $5,000, which was a lot for a team, to be honest.
And talk to us a little bit about like, is it that you guys will be providing a more open marketplace for people to purchase this type of data and presumably able to have like a lower price? Because like if we look at the Twitter example, right, like their API is very expensive. I think Google historically signed a deal with Reddit to license some of this information, which was also very expensive. Talk to us a little bit about like how you're helping developers kind of train their models, even if they don't have like the most amount of money.
Yeah, and just to take one step further here, and there's some platform data that even if you have a lot of money, you cannot purchase. With Twitter, it has a developer platform whereby you can access Twitter data through Twitter Developer API, versus for something like podcasts, where exactly can you find the source of truth when it comes to data access, right? Not to mention that speech data, basically this, for example, this recording will have to be transformed into text and then has to be transformed into formats that are suitable for RAG agent and RAG application. So this entire process is taken care of by Masa's decentralized network. What is Masa's solution? Our solution is that we have built a decentralized network of around currently 48,000 node workers and validators. Those are people who basically share their spare bandwidth and to power nodes on the Masa network. What they do is that think of them as virtual workers all around the globe, 48,000 of them. They aggregate data, they structure data, they clean data, and they pre-process data. All happens in milliseconds and return that back to AI developers. This entire process is powered by this decentralized framework and technology that we have built at Masa in the past 2 years. And currently we have served more than a few dozens of AI developers. Some of them are very large Web2 enterprises who are in desperate need of real-time and high-quality data.
And talk to us a little bit about like why this has to, or like why you chose to make this decentralized. Because I could envision a world where you have a bunch of centralized nodes doing very similar kinds of like data cleaning processes. Talk to us a little bit about like why make it decentralized and why decentralized AI.
Yeah, so we have centralized counterparts already, which is the case of centralized platform APIs, right? Twitter developer APIs, and see what they're doing with centralized platform. First of all, it's a single point of control. They get to cut off your data whenever they want to. When Elon Musk took over Twitter, he basically jacked up the price because he has a mandate to his investors. That's what a centralized platform could do to your crucial access to data. And then on the other side, it also has a single point of failure or single point of vulnerability in the development process. In a decentralized model, first of all, using Web3 incentives, we can grow and scale this network very, very quickly, right? Although Masa has only been around for 2+ years, we managed to gather this network of 48,000 node workers using Web3 incentive. That's very precious compared to in a more centralized format. You'll probably need to either spend a lot more money or be around for a longer time in order to get to a critical mass of node workers. Now, more node workers means more stability, security, and scalability as we are in real time processing a huge quantum of data for AI development.
And then talk to us a little bit about like where you see the future of decentralized AI and what does it look like in your opinion with the help of Masa?
Yeah, decentralized AI is a vast, vast world. That's the only thing I can say, but I'll try to break it down in my best efforts. So recently I was in Asia, first in Seoul for Korean Blockchain Week, and then in Singapore for Token 2049. I was really, really glad to see the emergence of decentralized AI world because Masa has been doing this for 2+ years now, but more recently, a lot of brilliant minds and developers have entered into this space and producing a lot of great projects and great products that are beneficial to AI development. Broadly, I think I want to divide the decentralized AI stack into 4 parts. First, we have decentralized compute. You have projects like Aether, IONET, IOTEX, etc., who's trying to leverage decentralized network of devices and have their computational resources power development. And then the second part, you have inference. You have the likes of OpenAI, who have closed source model. We have the likes of Meta, who provide open source model. And then you have federated training on a decentralized network powered by the likes of Flock.io in the Web3 space. The next layer, the third one, which is data, that's where we focus on at Masa, because we think data is the most important resource in the entire stack in the long term. Because you know what? Garbage in, garbage out. We need to make sure that the data input into AI model is high quality, it's real time, and it's well structured, powered by the decentralized network of node workers that we have at Masa. And then the last layer is applications. Those are consumer applications that we love and interact with on a daily basis. ChatGPT, as an example, is one application that is powered by AI. We're seeing a lot of builders and innovations across the entire AI stack, from trying to decentralize compute to federated learning and inference to decentralizing data, and eventually to have decentralized applications. Very excited to see where this space goes in the next year or so, because everyone is building very, very quickly.
Yeah, I'm very excited by it as well. I used to work in the AI space, and I was recently talking with Michael from Zero G, the founder there, and he was talking about how his daughter will likely be AI native, and she'll be like, "Hey, you just spent all that time like typing away at a computer?" Like, "Yeah, it's just different times, you know," and just to
Yeah,
see where this all
100%.
goes.
Yeah, it's moving at such a fast speed, and to be honest, I can very well be an AI, and you wouldn't be able to know in a couple of years whether you're interviewing a real human or an AI.
Yeah, I know it's maybe job security scary, but everyone, let's go make the money while we still can. So let's talk a little bit about this exercise we used to like to do at BlackRock. Let's talk about like the life of a transaction. So let's imagine I am a DApp developer and I'm looking to utilize some of the AI data on Masa. And let's say for the training data, they're going to be using some of our podcasts. They want to maybe train it on like 100+ guests. So talk to us a little bit about like the data cleaning project and then how that actually works down to the person that actually wants to train the model themselves.
I love this exercise because the flow of data, how we call it internally, is normally how I would love to show and tell what we're building here at Masa. So let's say if you're a developer, you can be either a DApp developer in Web3, or you can be a Web2 developer who's building your AI application or AI agent. We don't really discriminate. We have various kind of ways that you can access Masa data. If you're more Web3 native, you're more than welcome to run a node on the Masa network. If you're more Web2 native, you can just directly do an API call through our API. If you want to access a huge amount of data, you can go to our SDK and integrate the SDK and get data access. And then lastly, if you want to just play with the data and see what you get out of it, you can go to Masa Foundation Hugging Face, whereby we have free and permissionless data out there, pre-scraped and ready for your AI development. So SDK, API, Masa Node, and Hugging Face are the four existing ways for you to access your data. So let's say if you're a Web2 developer and you did an API call, you want to get podcast data from this specific podcast. What you do is that you specify exactly the source that you want to have aggregated, transform, and pre-process. This assignment will get immediately delegated to a subset of our node network, in this case, perhaps 20 to 30 node workers. This group of human beings across the world will be able to immediately start to aggregate, structure the data, and then return it into the format per your API call request. This entire process happens in milliseconds. It ensures that you get real-time and high-quality data for your AI development.
And let's talk a little bit about like the user adoption of this data, because I think most people are familiar with, well, actually, I don't know that most people are familiar with training their own AI models, but let's say that like talk to us a little bit about like who is the underlying user of this data as Masa currently stands.
Yeah, so it's actually quite simple. Any AI developer who requires centralized platform data to train their AI, they're more than welcome to come here. We have a very long catalog of different sources. The most popular one, no surprise here, are Twitter, Discord, Telegram, podcasts, and video, because those are the crucial data sources required for AI agent and AI application development. Developers who need such data sources will be able to come to Masa and will be able to make requests through one of the four ways we just mentioned and get immediate access to Masa data.
And AI agents is something, it's a very interesting topic. For people that are unfamiliar, first, real quick, define what an AI agent is and talk to us about some of the use cases that you see AI agents being good for.
Yeah. Speaking of AI agent, I think you mentioned the example of Michael from Zero G and mentioning that his daughter in the future will be AI native. I would even make a prediction that going forward, every single human being will have his or her own AI agent. So what does AI agent means? It means like AI that speaks and talks and thinks and behaves just like you, which means that the AI agent needs to fully understand your footprint, whether it's digital or otherwise. Having consumed such a huge amount of data, they'll be able to start behaving like you. I'll give you an example. In the crypto space, KOL or influencers are crucial, right? Those are people who have a lot of thoughts on on crypto Twitter. We recently built a KOL AI agent that thinks and talks like one of the KOLs that we all love and care and read and follow on a daily basis. So after ingesting this KOL's entire Twitter feed into this AI agent now can interact with you, just like interacting with a KOL directly. Previously, we also built a Sam Altman AI agent. Same logic. We ingested a bunch of Sam Altman's tweets, podcasts, web data into this AI agent, train the AI agent to talk and behaves like Sam Altman. I think in the future, personalized AI agent will be how we basically handle anything about AI going forward.
And then do you have any opinion on like what is the future of work? I always think that like I'm very bullish on AI, but sometimes I get this tingly feeling where I'm like, it's kind of scary as well too. Talk to people a little bit about like what are some of the future implications of this AI future?
Yeah, I think if we say that every single human being is jobs is safe from AI, that will be a total lie. We should accept the reality. However, it also gives us an opportunity to really upskill ourselves in this age of AI. I'll give you an example. So 2 weeks ago, I was in Manila, Philippines, to visit some family members. The Philippines is really known for the BPO industry. Basically, if you give, let's say, Apple customer support a call, a lot of times it will go to a customer support agent in the Philippines. However, this entire industry is really threatened by AI because a lot of customer support tasks are now handled by AI agents instead of real customer support agent. This industry is actively looking for alternative ways they can scale themselves to accustom to this AI age. One job they are considering is labeling data. Just today, I think I saw that Scale AI quadruple their monthly revenue in the past month. This is proof that even in the AI industry, we need human intervention in parts of AI development. And you or me and people in the Philippines can actually scale themselves to apply for those jobs and to take part in this AI economy.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. And it's always something I think is quite interesting. And then talk to us a little bit about like we've seen in the news, there's regulatory concerns over like, hey, are they going to ban certain models? Are they going to ban certain kind of data practices? Talk to us a little bit about how you guys are like kind of approaching the regulatory landscape as it cannot always be the most clear.
Yeah, I recently actually gave a comment to Cointelegraph about AI kill switch proposed by Elon Musk, and the Californian regulators have been working very hard in putting together AI safety regulations. I have a very strong personal take on this one because as an AI builder myself, I don't think we as an industry know the ceiling of AI development just yet. And if we, the builders and the developers, don't understand the ceiling of AI, it will be kind of silly to put a cap on this put a cap on the ceiling just yet because no one truly understands the potential of AI. So I am of the view that the US government should adopt regulations just like Singaporean government, whereby we really focus on growth, innovation, and to inspire more developers to use AI and to building AI instead of putting an arbitrary ceiling to AI development before we understand the full potential of AI just yet.
Absolutely, yeah. It's quite interesting, and I'm on the probably on the less regulation side, but I could see my future coming to around to more. So let's talk a little bit about like some of the feedback you've gotten from existing or like people you're working with. Talk about the feedback you guys have gotten and how you've kind of integrated that into improving Masa.
Yeah, so I think a lot of Web3 projects, and I'll be very candid here, are building with Web3 builders and only for Web3 builders. And over time, we just start to talk to each other, onboard each other as partners and customers, which is great. However, in order for this industry to truly grow into mainstream, we need to step out of our comfort zone of Web3 and truly onboard Web2 customers and make your products, if it's a developer or 2C product, more Web2 friendly. So that's exactly what we have done at Masa. When we first launched our mainnet in April this year, we only had data access through Masa node network, which is quite a Web3 native thing to do, to be honest. But then over time, we realized that we want to be able to work with Web2 developers as well. And there's such a vast universe of Web2 AI developers we can capture who really need our real-time high quality data. That's the reason why more recently in the past month or two, we developed our API, SDK, all with the intention of embracing Web2 developers. And we haven't announced this just yet, but we recently landed one of the biggest tech name in Web2 to be a customer of Masa Data. I would love to have more Web3 developers and Web3 projects and builders to think beyond the comfort zone, to think about mainstream adoption in a very meaningful way, and to make their products easier to use and easier to access by Web2 developers.
Yeah, and on that point, because this is something we harp on a lot here, is like my mom doesn't go to a website and it's like, oh, MongoDB. She just like it's just a website and it works. And I always think though the Web3 solutions will have to be so much better than the Web2 solutions, and people just don't even know that they're necessarily using them. Talk to us a little bit about like, are there any areas of Web3, because our goal is always to get more builders into the space. Is there any area of like Web3 or AI or the intersection that you're particularly bullish on, where you're like, hey, if I was a builder and I couldn't work on Masa, I would definitely be working on this?
Oh, that's a great question. So I definitely have my biases, and that's the reason why I'm working on Masa. But I think if I go to the other extreme, I would encourage more builders to build applications that can onboard the next billion users. I feel like with crypto cycle and crypto markets, within each cycle, when we're at the peak, we talk about onboarding the next billion users. However, in this cycle, I have not yet identified a use case that can truly onboard the next billion users. I think prediction is one of those because I'm personally a huge fan of predictions, and a poly market in some situations have overtaken traditional prediction models as the number one go-to place for people to make bets in the predictions market. I would love to see more use cases like that blossoming in the Web3 space. There is a problem though, because we often do not have enough VC funding or funding in general for application builders. That's why I think crypto can actually be a solution for that, because Silicon Valley or Sand Hill Row is no longer the only source of capital for great application builders. This entire cost of building an application can be significantly reduced by the assistance of AI, going back to the topic here today. With AI, you shouldn't need to hire an entire team of engineers. You shouldn't need to hire multiple product managers, and you shouldn't need to have multiple community managers and marketers. Sometimes a small, nimble, and mighty team will be able to build applications that can onboard the next billion users. So if I weren't working at Masa, working in data and AI infrastructure, I would probably be an application builder, but I would only work with a very, very small and nimble team.
Very interesting. And so, because we're always trying to get more founders into the space, is that your advice for founders? Is like, hey, these days, like keep it kind of light, like raise money, and then just like be very light on the hiring.
Yeah, 100%. No matter what you're building, whether it's application or infrastructure, being very mindful of expenses is always my number one advice. Back in the days, I was a VC and now I'm a founder. So I know both sides of the story, right? Especially when you're building in crypto and Web3, it is an extremely volatile market. You don't know how the market is going to look like, whether you can do a massive node sale or you can do a massive public sale, or even if you can list it at all. And you have no idea what the appetite from VC will be at this current point in time. However, your product, your project, and your team must go on. So I would always caution founders to save more, to spend less when you're building.
Absolutely. And finally, where can listeners learn more about Masa, get involved with you online?
Yeah, 100%. We have a very active international community here at Masa. My favorite will be following us on Twitter. That will be at GetMasa5, or following me personally at Calenthia, 3As on Twitter. We're posting a lot of updates on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Well, everyone go in and get involved with Masa, go chat more online, and let's get